That's correct.
Is that correct? And that's one of the first steps of this. Now, obviously, we'd like to get to the point where we can find ways to achieve the entire piece. But I know we've got committee members sitting here, and I know that you'll probably remember us making those comments, trying to standardize, to get ourselves to where we are consistent, and we can work toward having that consistencies amongst all the different groups, instead of multiple scales that seem to be a challenge for us.
Mr. Clemens, so was listening to what you said. I want to see if you agree with kind of my assessment of part of it. If we established a scale and we said X teacher is going to be making Y amount, are you wanting to see that they are meeting specific benchmarks with performance evaluations, or having continuing education, being more marketable or more valuable to the system by attaining some other type of certification or something like that? Is that
well, that can
thinking?
certainly be a part of it. Just to make promises to people, because you've been here X number of years, that we're going to pay you more money. We've had a lot of discussions in here about that, and that's maybe not the best plan for sure. But the big thing there is, I don't want this board to imply that we're making promises for any future boards, either us or anyone else. I want us to say, this is what we can do today. And I said in my conversation, I believe that these pay scales should be leveled. They should be. Every 5-year teacher, every 10-year teacher should be making the same.
Right.
Now, it may take us 2 years to achieve that. It may take us 3 years, depending on the money. But we have to do that. I'm in agreement on that. But to come in and tell people, when you come to work for us, after you're here 5 years, you're going to be making this much money. It's hard for us to promise that. We can't guarantee that. If we're going to have our people expecting, we should be willing to commit. And that's what's happened with the boards in the past when this whole plan was set up. I've never heard that anybody was promised that they would be making this, but they assumed they would when they looked at those projected scales. The projected scales, as we say them, which to me are the projected raises, that's what I would like to get rid of, is projected, to say that anyone is going to be making this when you're here this time. When you hire in, you're going to be making the same as everyone else with the same experience you have. But to go after that and to promise or imply that we're going to keep everyone raising every year, again, the last few years, the majority of the years, we've been able to do okay with percentage raises. And we're still battling the thing that we haven't given the steps, but we've been able to give raises. And based on how the state has done additional funding, that's the only way we could continue to do it. But we still have voted to do that, I'm pretty sure unanimously as a board, when we've been able to. So that's where it is. But I would rather be able to give you $10 next year just out of the blue than I would promise to give you $5 and not be able to, or promise to give you $20 and not. You know, you're better off to give them what you can when you can.
Right.
And hopefully we're all in this together, and we can work together, and we can look at our past history, that all of our employees can say, hey, they have gotten these raises. And when the state takes the money away from us and we gave the raises anyway, hopefully that shows some commitment of the board to take care of our employees. And not just teachers, it's everyone. And we've done that since I've been on the board. We've done that every opportunity that we have been able to, and we have even gone overboard when we had a rush on ADM, that we gave the increases that the very next year we had to work really hard on a budget, because the problem is when we had that influx of additional money, the next year it leveled off.
Right.
So, you know, we're going to have that every year. So we have to look at doing everything we can for all of our employees every year. If there's places we can cut costs, that's what I want to know. To make it level, that's what I want to do. But as Bert says, you know, if you guarantee these people, every employee out there, that you're going to take care of them forever, no matter how good or bad they work, and it's not just teachers, it's everybody in the performance. You know, I just feel like we shouldn't commit ourselves for every school board after us and every school superintendent after us for what they're gonna do. So do what we can do, take care of it, let's find money to level these salaries over the next year, 2 years, whatever it takes, but find the money. Let's not vote to do it, let's find out to know that we can.
Well, what you have in front of you, the scale itself, just as you said, there's been increases multiple years that's been able to be accomplished, and we're very happy that we were able to do that, and I think that all of the staff has been appreciative of that occurring as opposed to nothing happening. However, the scales of which they see are not reflective of those increases. It just kept increasing, so we need to realign it so that it can be evident that there were increases that did occur. So that's what you have proposed to you, to realign those scales so that it is truly reflective of where that particular 10-year person should be, or 5-year person should be,
But my belief
without
is
the increases.
that needs to be done, that's showing what they should be on today, this year, next year, whenever we vote on it.
Okay.
But to give that person a projection, that after you're here for 10 more years, you're gonna be making this amount of money, we can't do that.
Well, I think annually though, when they sign their contract, and
It
Mr.
does
Gressler
say.
even stated that,
Yes.
it says on there, I can't tell you.
If
I
funds are
understand, I
available.
understand
If funds are
that, but I've
available.
heard 100 times that we've not gotten step raises, and these papers show that the money, except for the high end of it, that the money is more than step raises would have been. And I've heard, no, wait, at the last meeting, I also made that statement that I got tired of hearing, and you said it, that they've not gotten raises. That statement's been made too many
I never said
times.
that they didn't get raises.
Too many
One of
times that has been said, and they have.
Eddie, one of the things, Mr. Clemens, one of the things that I think is very important for all of us to understand is the fact that, you know, as we go out there and try to work toward the increases that we can, I think the key component is that we present that in a positive fashion. That unfortunately in the past, it has been presented in a negative fashion to some of our new hires that, oh, by the way, you are now behind 5 years on this scale. That's not where we need to be. It is, you will be offered X. We are happy to have you come on board, and here is that particular rate. That's the pieces of which I think we can communicate it very positively to anyone coming on board that will remove this conversation of you're not doing
But Cindy,
this
that's
or
what I
that.
continue to say I agree with.
I
What I
agree.
don't
It's
agree
just
with
not
is
happening
those
to this point.
projections. Those projections, that when they come in and they're making $40,000, and you show them a chart and says, after you're here for 5 more years, you're gonna be making 45, we need to stop doing that. We can't guarantee that. That's what this is about. That's why we hear that we haven't gotten step raises. We've gotten the money, but they haven't been step raises.
Well,
Okay, the money has been
scale
given.
continues to go up, which makes it not look as if the increases have occurred.
No, the scale doesn't continue to go up.
It has. On all those increases, it went up. But in essence, you were moving toward the original scale, which you agree with, that's why we did those pieces, to try to give increases. But I do think that ultimately, we do need to standardize. We need to get away from 2 scales, and that's what we're trying to work toward to begin with. I hear what you're saying, and I think the piece is that we have positive communication amongst all of our staff, you know, teachers, bus drivers, classified, everything, so they understand where we
Which was a
are.
huge piece of the committee, is that
Absolutely.
we were able to communicate and eliminate a lot of the negative ideas and thoughts about what we were trying to do.
And that's my
We were
belief.
able to get onto the same
Being
page.
positive is why I say we don't make promises we can't keep. That's being positive. That's the whole thing. You know, we keep getting back to, yeah, we want a level playing field. Take things one thing at a time. Let's do that.
That's
Let's
what
make
I'm trying
those.
to do.
Let's do that. But while we're doing that, let's get rid of those projection step raises. Let's just take that out of there, because when that teacher comes in and she's making the same thing as every other 10-year employee here, then we don't want to show them in 15 years you'd be making this. They don't need to see that. There's no reason to show that to them. They're coming in making the same amount of money as everyone else. We can look at all the comparisons and scales in the world. I've got Allegany's last year pay scales. You want to see something awful? Okay. I've got, you know, things that we've been through. I've got here that shows, you know, out of 97 schools, we're in the top 12.
Yeah.
Well, that's
But-
right. But
I mean, you
all
know
those
that.
being said, we can chart that to death and we can do that.
Right.
Okay, but the fact is, I don't want our board to leave something in front of these people as we're building a projected positive relationship, I don't want to throw out potential promises that we can't keep. We can't say what we can do 2 years from now. We can't say what we can do 3 years from now. This year, next year, as long as it takes, we can level that playing field, and I'm in agreement to that. Everyone with that experience should be the same. And I think we should do that. We're all in agreement. Let's do that. But to go with those projections on those projected step raises on what you're going to be making at the end of 15 years and 20 years. And yeah, I do believe we need to take care of our top end people now.
Yes, we
Spread
do.
that out. I do
Yes, we
believe
do.
that. And I've never said anything other than that. Spread it out 4 years, 5 years, at 2,000 a
That's the
year.
projection
That's a
of
great
5
thing.
years.
I have no
Yes.
problem with that.
Right.
But I just think we need to be careful as we're building that reputation of being positive and working together, that if it comes up next year and we can't give anybody a nickel raise, we made everybody level this year, next year we can't because there's absolutely no money. We never promised anybody that we would. We never implied to anybody that we would. What we did was hopefully build a relationship that if we can, we will. But to make a implied or projected promise, I think that just kills a relationship. And it can be the best thing now for the next year or the next 2 years that we level out these wages. That's a great positive thing. But the year after that, when nobody in the whole system gets a raise, and there's a number down here that says I should be getting a 1.5% raise or $1,200, whatever it is, then we just reneged on our promise. So my point is, take those promises out. Let's get it on a level playing field. Let's keep an honest relationship. While we're building a positive, let's build an honest relationship.